Well, you've been here a few days, and now how do you feel about the process and being involved in the convention in this way?
Well, one of the things that we here for is to like to understand the system which the Episcopal Church uses in arriving at decisions. And so far, we have been able to go to get snippets of what happens in the deputies and what happens in the House of Bishops. My impression is that there is a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of background work before resolutions are brought to the main meeting. And to me, that means that there is a lot of digestion, and there is a big understanding, and of course the involvement of many people, so that at the end of it all, whatever resolution is passed belongs to the people.
Bishop, did you notice, do you want to comment on like a difference between the House of Deputies and House of Bishops? Did you notice a difference in texture or style?
Well, I find that the House of Deputies to be larger than, of course, the House of Bishops, naturally. I think the time that we spent in the House of Deputies is very short. Okay. But in terms of the way the resolutions were being taken, I think there's some closeness. Other than that, for the House of Bishops, is that there is some kind of closeness.
Yes.
Because the numbers are small, so they're able to sort of speak in an intimate way. As to the deputies, I think it's a larger community, and there's some kind of detachment of some sort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you get to know any of the bishops in particular, or had you been familiar with some of them before you came?
Yeah, I know some of the bishops, and Bishop Donovan, Bishop Dean. Bishop Dean came to Zambia, visited us. We invited him to our centenary, and he came around.
Bishop Wolf, Dean Wolf?
Dean Wolf, yes. Of course, the presiding bishop also came to Zambia last year.
Oh, yes.
And then Bishop Donovan also visited us last year. So at least three of the top bishops have visited Zambia, and one of them, I just can't remember his name, we were in the same group at the last Lambeth conference.
Good.
So it was good, actually. It was the first time I came to understand what goes, I think, in the Episcopal Church, because some of the things we just get them secondhand. And once you speak to the people themselves as individuals, you get information firsthand, and you have got a better understanding. And this is the same goes with my being here. I think I'm able to listen, interact, and get information firsthand.
Good.
And Bishop William, were there any resolutions in either house that caught your attention that seemed particularly interesting?
Well, for the House of Deputies, I think we couldn't get anything because we just went in and out somehow. But from the House of Bishops, I think there is an important aspect that I've just come to understand, the issue of the mission of God. Because we normally take it as a mission of the church, when it's actually the mission of God. We talk about Missio Dei, which is the mission of God himself.
Right.
The church doesn't own.
Bishop Douglas was just talking about that.
Explaining
Yes.
that. And to me, that is very, very important, because they adopted that resolution with that amendment, with an understanding that the mission that we do is not ours. It's the mission of God.
And I was pleased that Bishop Douglas also moved that resolution about funding to the Anglican Communion Office.
I think that was equally important.
Encouraging the House of Bishops
Yes.
What did you think of that?
I think looking at what's going on in the Anglican community, the miscommunication that's going on, and hearing from this house that the Episcopal Church is interested in supporting the Anglican communion, gives a fresh breath.
Yes.
And some relief to some of those who are in support of having one Anglican communion and never throw it away.
Maybe one last question. Our Bishop of Provenzano of, I think, Long Island has an interesting resolution that he was encouraging the House of Bishops and House of Deputies to become a unicameral legislature, like most of the Anglican Communion, so that there would be one house, and then the deputies could hear the bishops' voices and vice versa. I assume, is that how you do it in Central Africa?
Well, Central Africa, yes, it's the House of Bishops, And then I've got the House of Clergy and I've got the House of Legislature, which is here, I think the House of Deputies. We meet together. But there are certain issues when we break into all the three
Right.
houses and then we come together. The voting is done house by house. So I think what they were doing with what the Episcopal Church does, I think with the time, they make a goal in that way. But as it is, if it's working well for them, well, why throw it away? But I think things evolve and things just the same way. There'll come a time when they'll feel like they can come together.
Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.